Okay, thank you, Professor Muzata, for being with us at Girl Scouts today. I just want to start with a little bit about your background or your family, anything you want to share with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to have this conversation with you, and I hope it inspires many young girls. So, my name is Sombo Muzata, and I was born in Zambia, and Zambia is in sub Saharan Africa. It's really down, if you look at the map of Africa, it's really towards, not really towards the tip, but it is close to South Africa. Many people know South Africa. But if you've done a little bit of geography, you should know that there is the mighty Victoria Falls, and it's in Zambia, and that's where I come from. So I was born in Zambia many years ago, and I went to school in Zambia. The time I was growing up and going to school back home, back then, it wasn't as developed as it is right now. So I remember so well crossing a stream, for example, to go to school, and I walked. So I know that that's something that most young girls nowadays don't necessarily do. They have to, they're taken to school by their parents. I mean, back home in Zambia. And but when I went to school, I walked, and it was pretty some distance. So that's a little bit about my background.
Thanks. So, we are just talking about gender parity the world over, what it means to go to school as a boy or a girl, and access to education based on gender, based on whether you're a boy or a girl. And we've looked at a map provided by UNESCO of the world and different places where gender parity or gender equality or access to education might be different than places we're more familiar with. So if you have any thoughts on gender parity in Zambia, I would love to hear them.
Great, yeah. So what we have seen over the years, we've seen some fluctuating, some changing levels of interest in education, and we've also seen at some times the local data suggesting that more girls get enrolled in primary education, which is like K through middle school, I think. So at that level, we have a lot of girls coming into school, but at the rate of getting out of college, we see very few girls making it to the end. So Zambia is one of those countries that hasn't achieved full gender parity. We still have a long way to go, and there's a lot of challenges that girls face for them to get to school. I gave an example when I just gave an introduction about myself that I used to cross a stream to go to school. So a young girl can be crossing a stream to go to school, but then a young girl can be walking a very long distance. That puts their life at risk. So and it's at risk of being attacked by either wild animals. It's at risk of being attacked by other human beings. So girls face many different kind of challenges if they have to have access to education, and some of the challenges are actual physical things, but then also it's economic issues. Primary education in Zambia now is funded by the government, so parents are not supposed to pay anything for kids or young girls to go to school, at least from first grade to I think 12th grade or 7th grade, which is a primary level. So, with that systems in place of free education, we still see that girls face other challenges that stop them from going to school. If you live in a rural area, it is very likely that you would be married off when you reach puberty. That still happens to this day. There has been a lot of efforts by the government and by non-profit organizations uh, trying to sensitize people and to get people to see the value of education and why educating the girl child is important. So all those things are going on. There's a lot that is happening, but we still haven't attained parity because we have a number of challenges in our communities.
Thank you. Um, I wonder if you can think or share with us any information about what you see as things that either we can do in our community or people can do in their communities to make sure that some of these barriers to gender parity in education are overcome.
Great. That's a very good question, and I'm just now thinking about the kind of environment that we are in. We are in a heavy tech environment, and technology brings with it many opportunities, and it also brings with it many challenges. So depending on where we are at in the world, this is very important. The conversation that we're having is very important because I hope it gets to inspire young girls to go to school and work hard. I hope it gets young girls to see that they can succeed and they can make it in life. So I think there's a lot that can be done. For young girls here in the US, I know that there's been a concern over the last few years on the use of social media and the use of technology. It's TikTok, it's YouTube, it's Facebook, it's Instagram. There's a lot of studies that have been documented that show that girls are impacted negatively, for example, by Instagram. It's not me saying that, it's data that is available and has been analyzed by scientists who are trained to do that kind of work. So in those instances, I think how community can be supportive. Parents are, of course, the first line of defense in this case. I think parents need to be able to raise their kids to be present. They need to have some sort of measures and rules within their homes on how their kids can utilize technology and just be present and aspire to work hard at school, you know. In a community like where I came from, I lived in a semi-rural community when I was growing up, not completely rural. It's, yes, communicating with the parents. It's ensuring that, you know, the basic supplies and necessities for girls are provided so that girls can stay in school. It is also it is a big policy issue, actually, if you think about it. We live here in the US and we have access to safe and clean drinking water. We have access to electricity. In other parts of the world, in other communities, people don't have access to that. Girls have to go and draw water on their heads, okay? Carry gallons of water that have to be used for the day. And girls have to help and go and fetch firewood that has to be used for cooking. So if we're thinking about what the community has to do, it's a lot. Some things have to be done at a policy level, and some things have to be done at the family level, where parents come in and then also other members of the community support to ensure that girls are taken to school.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.